Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, at a home for unwed mothers in Burlington, Vermont. His early life was immediately shrouded in a complex web of secrecy and confusion, a foundation that would later be scrutinized by investigators and psychologists alike. For the first several years of his life, he lived under the belief that his maternal grandparents were his parents, and that his own mother, Eleanor Louise Cowell, was his older sister. This carefully constructed family dynamic was designed to shield the family from the social stigma associated with his illegitimate birth, a common practice in post-war America. The truth of his parentage was a guarded secret, a fact that Bundy himself would later claim caused him deep-seated resentment and a profound sense of identity confusion. This foundational deception created an environment where appearances were paramount and reality was something to be concealed. It was in this atmosphere of hidden truths and manufactured normalcy that the young Bundy began to take shape. Despite these unusual and emotionally complicated circumstances, Bundy outwardly appeared to be a model of conventional success. He was an intelligent and articulate child who excelled in his academic pursuits. Friends and acquaintances from his youth would later recall a boy who was shy but well-behaved, blending in seamlessly with his peers. As he matured into a young man, this quiet demeanor evolved into a remarkable and disarming charm, a quality that would later become a hallmark of his chillingly effective persona. He was handsome, well-spoken, and projected an image of ambition and confidence, studying at university and becoming involved in local politics. Yet beneath this polished and carefully maintained surface, troubling signs of a darker side were beginning to emerge. Isolated incidents of unusual behavior and a growing fascination with macabre subjects hinted at a disturbing internal world, one that was meticulously hidden from the unsuspecting world around him. This duality, the charismatic public face and the cold, private reality, was the perfect camouflage for the predator lying in wait. To the outside world, Ted Bundy was the embodiment of potential. He grew into a charismatic and socially adept young man, navigating the university environment with an ease that drew others to him. At college, he was widely regarded as attractive, polite, and intelligent, a model student with a promising future in law and politics. This carefully constructed facade of normalcy was his greatest weapon. His charm was disarming, allowing him to gain the trust of those around him, making it nearly impossible for friends, colleagues, and even law enforcement to suspect the darkness that lay beneath the surface. He was the man next door, the helpful stranger, the person least likely to be a monster. This public persona was a tool meticulously honed for a sinister purpose. Bundy developed methods that relied entirely on deception and psychological manipulation. He didn't stalk his victims from the shadows. Instead, he approached them in broad daylight, often feigning injury or impersonating an authority figure to elicit sympathy and compliance. He would wear a cast on his arm or leg, struggling with a pile of books, and ask for help carrying them to his car. This performance of vulnerability preyed on the kindness of strangers, luring them into a position where they could be controlled. His ability to blend into society was a key element of his long evasion of justice. Bundy was a chameleon, adapting his appearance and demeanor to fit his surroundings. He was a political campaign volunteer, a law student, and a crisis hotline worker roles that placed him at the heart of the communities he terrorized. Each attack was carefully planned, with Bundy exploiting his knowledge of human behavior to remain unnoticed by law enforcement. He was a phantom who could move freely, his clean-cut image and articulate speech deflecting any suspicion. For years, as a frantic search for a brutal killer spread across multiple states, the man responsible was hiding in plain sight, his true nature concealed behind a mask of chilling respectability. Between 1974 and 1978, a wave of terror quietly swept across the American landscape, leaving a trail of fear and confusion that spanned multiple states. The perpetrator, Ted Bundy, orchestrated a series of crimes that would only later be understood in their full, horrifying scope. While the specific details of his actions are profoundly disturbing, this examination will focus not on the graphic nature of his offenses, but on the intricate patterns of his behavior, the monumental task faced by investigators, and the law enforcement efforts that sought to bring his reign of terror to an end. This period marked a dark chapter in American criminal history, one that tested the very limits of police work in a pre-digital age. The primary challenge for investigators was the sheer geographic breadth of Bundy's activities. Before the advent of national DNA databases or instant communication between jurisdictions, Connecting disparate cases across state lines was a painstaking and often frustrating process. Bundy exploited this weakness with chilling efficiency. His ability to change locations frequently, coupled with his calculated methods of altering his appearance, allowed him to operate with a disturbing degree of anonymity. He was a phantom, moving seamlessly from one community to the next, leaving behind isolated tragedies that, for a time, seemed entirely unrelated. This mobility was a core component of his criminal signature, deliberately designed to outpace and confound law enforcement. As detectives in different states began to notice unsettling similarities in their unsolved cases, the slow and arduous task of piecing together the puzzle began. The use of detailed maps to plot sighting locations and crime scenes became a critical tool, revealing a terrifying travel corridor that snaked through the Pacific Northwest, Utah, Colorado, and eventually Florida. Timelines were meticulously constructed, cross-referencing witness accounts with Bundy's known movements. These rudimentary but essential investigative techniques were crucial in building a cohesive picture of a single, highly mobile predator. His manipulative personality, often described as charming and intelligent, further complicated matters, allowing him to deflect suspicion and talk his way out of encounters that might have ended his spree sooner. For years, the public remained largely unaware that a serial offender of such magnitude was at work. News reports focused on local incidents, and the idea of a killer crossing state lines with such impunity was almost inconceivable to the collective consciousness of the 1970s. It was only through the persistent collaborative efforts of a handful of dedicated investigators that the fragmented pieces of evidence were finally assembled, revealing the true scale of Ted Bundy's crimes and forever changing the face of criminal investigation in the United States. The hunt for Bundy became a landmark case, highlighting the urgent need for greater interstate law enforcement cooperation. As Ted Bundy's horrific crimes began to surface, a wave of media attention swept across the nation. Newspapers and television broadcasts reported extensively on the string of unsolved murders, slowly piecing together a terrifying puzzle. With each new report, Bundy's name became increasingly synonymous with a new kind of evil, one that was intelligent, elusive, and chillingly ordinary in its appearance. The widespread coverage ignited a potent mixture of fear and morbid fascination among the public. In an era before instant information, the slow drip of news from traditional media outlets built a powerful, looming sense of dread. Across multiple states, law enforcement agencies issued public warnings, urging caution and vigilance. Yet, despite the growing alarm and the faces of missing women appearing on evening news segments, Bundy continued his rampage, seemingly untouchable. His ability to slip through the grasp of investigators time and again only amplified the tension and deepened the mystery surrounding his identity. He was a phantom, a handsome stranger who left a trail of devastation but no clear trail back to himself. This period of evasion was a critical element of his dark legend, creating the image of a criminal mastermind who was always one step ahead. The relentless media coverage played a crucial role in shaping the public's perception of the case. It transformed a series of local tragedies into a national manhunt, highlighting not only the profound danger Bundy represented, but also the immense and frustrating challenges confronting law enforcement. The various police departments, operating with limited communication and forensic technology by today's standards, struggled to connect the dots across state lines. The story became one of a fractured investigation struggling to catch a specter. Even with his face and name becoming familiar to millions, Bundy remained a free man, a testament to the calculated cunning that would later define his notorious criminal history. He exploited the trust of his victims and the limitations of the system designed to protect them. The ongoing failure to apprehend him cemented his status as more than just a killer. He became a symbol of the darkness that could hide in plain sight, a chilling reminder of the vulnerability that lay just beneath the surface of everyday life. The manhunt for Ted Bundy was not just a pursuit of a murderer. It was a desperate race against an enigma. After years of eluding authorities across multiple states, the long and complex manhunt for Ted Bundy finally came to a close. His ultimate apprehension in Florida in 1978 was not the end of the story, but rather the beginning of a new, highly publicized chapter. The subsequent legal proceedings would captivate the nation, drawing unprecedented media attention and turning courtrooms into a public spectacle. Bundy's capture marked a pivotal moment, shifting the focus from the desperate search for an unknown predator to the intricate process of proving his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The trials that followed were anything but conventional. In a move that stunned legal experts and the public alike, Bundy often chose to represent himself. Displaying a chilling combination of charisma, intelligence, and a surprising grasp of legal procedure, he cross-examined witnesses and argued motions before the very people tasked with his prosecution. This decision provided a disturbing first-hand look into the mind of the man accused of such heinous crimes, as he performed for the cameras and the jury with a detached and confident demeanor. His active participation in his own defense became a central and unsettling feature of the legal drama. Despite Bundy's courtroom grandstanding, the prosecution meticulously constructed its case. Investigators had spent years piecing together a puzzle that stretched across the country. They presented a formidable collection of evidence, from forensic documentation, including the now infamous bite mark evidence, to damning eyewitness accounts that placed him at key locations. Each piece of evidence served as a testament to the painstaking work of law enforcement agencies that had collaborated to untangle his web of deceit. The trials did more than just secure a conviction. They served as a crucial case study for law enforcement and the public. They highlighted the challenges of tracking a mobile offender in an era before modern databases and interconnected police systems. The proceedings laid bare the terrifying reality of how one individual, armed with intelligence and a veneer of normalcy, could operate with such deadly efficiency for so long. The enduring mystery was not just what he did, but how he managed to remain a phantom, hiding in plain sight while a nation searched for the monster in its midst. The verdict would finally bring a name and a face to the years of terror, but the questions raised by his case would continue to haunt the American psyche for decades to come. The story of Theodore Robert Bundy continues to captivate and disturb criminologists, psychologists, and the public alike. His case is a chilling study in contrasts, a man who appeared charismatic and intelligent yet harbored a profound darkness. Bundy's ability to project an image of normalcy while committing heinous crimes allowed him to operate undetected for years. This duality, this mask of sanity, has become a focal point for extensive research, offering critical insights into the nature of psychopathy, criminal psychology, and the art of deception. His calculated methods for luring victims and his repeated, audacious escapes from custody demonstrated a cunning intelligence that posed an unprecedented challenge to law enforcement agencies across multiple states. The investigation into his crimes became a complex puzzle, piecing together disparate clues from different jurisdictions, a process that highlighted the need for greater interagency communication and data sharing. Today, the Bundy case serves as both a stark warning and a foundational lesson in modern criminal justice. It is a permanent fixture in the curriculum for law enforcement and forensic psychology, underscoring the vital importance of meticulous investigation, the careful preservation of evidence, and the crucial need to understand the psychological drivers behind monstrous acts. The challenges faced by detectives in the 1970s, navigating a pre-digital world without the benefit of DNA databases or centralized criminal records, reveal the immense difficulties they overcame. Bundy's ability to manipulate legal proceedings and charm those around him, even while on trial for his life, provides a chilling case study in an offender's capacity for manipulation. While the immense harm and suffering his actions caused can never be undone, the rigorous study of his case allows us to better comprehend recurrent criminal patterns, the evolving challenges faced by law enforcement, and the profound, often unsettling complexities of human behavior. By examining the facts of the investigation, the timelines of his movements, and the evidence that ultimately led to his conviction, we honor the memory of the many lives he cut short. In doing so, we reflect on the critical lessons learned from this dark chapter in history. These lessons have fundamentally reshaped investigative techniques and our understanding of the predatory mindset, ensuring that the tragedies of the past continue to inform and strengthen the future of criminal investigation.